Go there now and talk to a business owner. Kind of follows directly from what the Vice President, Secretary Azar, and others were talking about. This business voluntarily shut its doors just recently with rising safety concerns. As Michael Neff, you see on the screen, joins us, the co-owner of the Cottonmouth Club in Houston. So it's a club in the Houston area that, the bars and clubs had reopened. You were open, and then you shut back down. So tell us what your thinking was and how that decision was made here in recent days.
Well, I mean, right now we're shut down because we were ordered to, and basically the entire bar industry in Texas is ordered to shut down for the safety of our fellow citizens, right? So we're just kind of sitting out here waiting and see if we're going to die. Like we're without resources at this point. We shut down earlier just because the risk became too high. We're a public business, right, and a lot of people were very trepidatious about going out. So when bars reopened, the people that came out were more likely to be the ones who didn't want to take the most basic precautions to take care of the people serving them, the people next to them, and they didn't want to wear a mask. And the mask became a symbol of not believing, right? So if you weren't wearing a mask, that meant you weren't social distancing, you weren't necessarily sanitizing. And the result was now bartenders all over the city where I am in Houston, the COVID-19 just raged through our community. And this is kind of where we're at now.
Yeah. Right. That's why I was saying I wanted to make that point. It was your decision. I know that you've been mandated now, but it was your decision to get out ahead of this because you saw what was happening, essentially. I believe it was Secretary Azar who said this should be fairly easy for people if you either, you get your social distance. If you can't do that, you put a mask on, wash your hands, practice personal hygiene. And your point is that just wasn't happening. And no matter what the government told you to do, and eventually they did tell you to do something, you're like, you know what, I'm doing my own thing here.
Well, I mean, we weren't alone in it. A lot of businesses where we are in Houston made the same determination because we were looking at the people who wanted to come in and seeing where they had been going, and there were so many irresponsible people, but there's also so many irresponsible businesses that let them basically just pile on top of each other. And people saw videos of a place called Clay, a place called Spire, like all of these places where they're literally photographing themselves, kind of dancing and pretending like everything's normal. I mean, the shocking irresponsibility of that from top to bottom was kind of what made us say, I can't balance that risk for myself, for my staff, for their families, or for my clientele. So we had to make the very difficult decision to say, do we jeopardize ourselves as a business, or do we jeopardize our entire community? And for me, that's just not a choice.
Yeah, an either or that maybe necessarily shouldn't have to be an either or, but it does bring up, and you use the phrase balancing risks. We talk to businesses all the time, and that's always the perspective that we're coming at this from, covering the economic recovery. Hey, people are frustrated that they've been asked and forced to close down their businesses, and they want to get back to work. But if you don't do it right, this is kind of proof, as in terms of individual responsibility and everything else. If you don't do it right, it actually hurts the economy because now look at you're shut down again.
Right. And also bars are always kind of unique. So they didn't ask us how to regulate ourselves. And so it didn't work. And we didn't want to shut down because, I mean, our business touches every single part of the U.S. economy. Like, we don't sell drinks for a living. We are in the people business. We're in the community business. And that will be very clear to people because they've been stuck at home drinking more than ever for cheaper. And as soon as bars opened, they wanted to come back, right? So, we are a symbol of life being normal. You can gather with your friends, you can listen to music, you can have a drink, but people didn't want to take the barest step to not only protect all the workers who had to come back and serve them, but even each other, and also just not even protecting the experiment with the economy. Like, Governor Abbott wanted to rush us open. And we did, and this is what happens.
All right, Michael, we'll check back with you. We wish you nothing but the best, and to you and everybody in Texas and in Houston. Michael Neff with us from Houston. Melissa.
Yeah, that was pretty eye-opening. All right, thank you for that.